I was like way 5 or 6. I used to live in like a 500 square foot house. We had this big 70-inch TV. Younger, watch a lot of Disney and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would always tell my mom like I could do better than that. Mom, I could do it. Dude, she would look at me like, what are you looking at? And whenever I was like 11 years old, I'm just a normal kid, and I had just gotten taken out of like third grade. I was one of those troublemakers, you know. So
Yeah.
I was like one of the first kids of the whole curve to ever get homeschooled, and then it was like a oh you're homeschooled kind of thing. And now
Yeah.
everybody does it. Everybody does virtual. So like 60% of the country now does virtual. So it's crazy. But I started when I was about in third grade. So you know I was ADHD. I had like really bad I would get my stuff done before the other kids in the class, and then my teacher would yell at me because I would just mess with the kids. I'd throw stuff at them. Have you ever put a pencil at the end of a table and hit it, and it flies up? Well, these
Yeah.
up hitting the ceiling, and
Yeah.
my teacher used to hate me doing that. But when I got a little bit older, I got pulled out when I was about 10, and then I started like fourth or fifth grade. Whenever I was in fourth or fifth grade, my mom taught me for a while um, until I got to about eighth grade. But when I was about in fourth grade, I think, is when there was an extra call in the newspaper in Fairhope, Alabama. So Fairhope, Alabama is like shoot 40 miles away from Pensacola.
Okay.
So it was a good little drive, but when we went out there, uh, you know, I had no expectations of becoming anything.
Yeah.
My mom took me with her, or not took me with her. She brought me. She was standing right next to me when I was talking to the people for the registration. Um, little did I know the people who were registering the actual like, casting call in the first place. They were the executive producers, my
Oh.
wife. So
Yeah.
whenever they asked me, so I said, "Hey, what's your name?" I was like, "My name's Hunter," and they were like, "Well, what are you here for?" That's kind of a peculiar question. So I was like, I could spin that a little bit because I kind of thought for a second. I'm pretty witty, so I kind of thought for a second. I was like, well, I'm here for whatever you'll let me be. And
Yeah.
yeah, so basically, and then I said right after that, I was like, look, Jim Carrey was homeless, and now he's a multimillionaire. And I said, I don't want to be, the main role, but I want to start somewhere. And
Mhm.
they looked at me, and my mom looked at me, and I was like 11 years old, and they were, what are you saying? And so they came back, they took my picture, and they looked at me, and they were like, um, you're really good. Have you ever gone to an acting class? I was like, no, I've never even learned lines before in my life. They handed me some stuff, and I went back and forth with somebody. Um, and then I left the room, and I went to go sit in the car, and the lady grabbed my mom before I went and sat in the car. And I could see in the parking lot was like this, and the building was like a little brick sidewalk away, and you could see it. So they were standing by the door, and my mom told me that the lady says, "Are you okay with your son being in a horror movie?" And my mom was like, "Of course." So
Yeah.
they said, "Okay, well, meet us back at this place in 2 weeks." And 2 weeks later was Halloween, and I'm pretty sure that was Halloween of 2015. If don't quote me if it was 2015 or 2016. It might have been 2016.
Oh,
Um,
so you got Before I Wake first. I thought you had South of Hell first.
no, I got Before I Wake first. That's where the spin really comes. because
Okay.
Before I Wake, the company who owned Before I Wake, who
Yeah.
published it, because it was gonna be like an actual movie, like in the theaters, because it was about like 30 minutes longer than it actually is.
Yeah.
But that company went bankrupt, so Netflix, or not Netflix, but somebody whoever bought it and then sold it on Netflix.
Mhm.
So basically, when I booked the movie, I had no lines, and then they added
Right.
lines to me, paid me as a scripted character, and then took my lines out, but I was still paid for it.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
if you look up on like some Chinese website, it's all translated, it's all cut over into English, into Chinese, but you can see my scenes, my old scenes. I had one scene where I was kicking a kickball on like right across the street from the school. Um, so yeah, that's
Mhm.
not even in the movie at all, and that was a whole like 2 or 3 minute spiel all in its own. Like it was a whole scene with
Yeah.
just me and the other kid Jacob. Um, but yeah, man, it was pretty fun. So basically, so I was about 11 or 12 years old, and then it was Halloween day. So we go over there about 2 o'clock, and Fairhope's about like an hour and a half away, hour and a half back. So I wasn't gonna get home till like 10 o'clock. So I was kind of like, you know, missing Halloween. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was the first time I'd miss Halloween ever because I was like still a 12-year-old kid. So I would go every
Mhm.
year. So whenever I did it, I was sitting there. They were at a round table and they had a bunch of candy. So they were talking to me, and I was stuffing my face with. I remember Butterfingers. So I kept eating Butterfinger after Butterfinger after Butterfinger. They were talking to me, and they were here, blah blah blah. And I was like, And they said, all right, okay, well, I want you to stand up and I want you to try this. And I was like, okay. So I stood up, and then they had me like, they literally told me to growl and told me to push someone. I was like, all right. And I did it, and they were like, oh, that was good. And I was like, I just started laughing because I was like, what do you mean that was good? That's literally what I had to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was just, I didn't know anything about executive producers or any of that kind of stuff. So I didn't have any filter over what I was saying.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know, like, this is it. This is all I gotta do. I was like, this is all I gotta
Mhm.
do. I was like, I got this. And then I literally, they were like, okay, Hunter, well, that's all we need. And I'm like, I was here for like 10 minutes. That's it. And
Yeah.
they were like, okay, well, we'll be in touch. I was like, okay. And we walked out. Um, there's no other kids there. It's just me and them. And then out comes the executive producer's wife, who was also a co-executive on the movie. Um, they come running out of the running. Or she comes running out of the building. And she goes, Hunter, we didn't want to wait. We're just gonna tell you straight up that we really liked you. You've done everything great. We're gonna take a chance on you. We're gonna book you for this, and we're gonna add some lines. And I just started like I freaked out. I gave her a big hug, and I ran in the car, and I called my brothers, and I called some of my friends, and I was like, I may not have been there tonight, but in about a year, when I thought it was gonna come out, I was like, in a year, I'll be in an actual like horror movie, like that we can watch on Halloween.
Right.
So they were freaking out too. Um, it was just a really fun time in general. Like it was like I didn't expect to have such a blast while doing it. And that's kind of like a blur in my life a little bit because when I was acting, everything shuts out in my life. All my social life goes away. I don't care about my phone. I don't care about anything. It's just that
Mhm.
character and then the movie. And it's cool. It's like my little escape zone because it's like I feel like I have a little tick that just allows me to separate that because I'm interested in it. Do you have stuff like that like with music? Like how you just, you can separate yourself from society and you can just fall into your music and you can like
Yeah,
act.
totally.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can feel emotion through it. But that's how I was working with my audition and like not my audition but with my acting when I was like 12, 13. So then whenever we finished filming Before I Wake, it was initially called Insomnia. But whenever I booked it and we filmed it and everything, I still had no agent, no manager. So
Yeah.
the character who played the young blonde in Before I Wake, her name's Kyla Deaver. She's one of my friends still. Uh, well, anyway, she her manager at the time. She doesn't act anymore, but her manager at the time is the manager who I still have.
Oh,
Yeah. So he was a
that's cool.
yeah. His name's Eric. He's such a great guy. He's been around since I was like been around for like 6 years now. And he's always helped me out. He's always advised me properly. He's always just been a good like just straight up beacon of inspiration. So whenever I was whenever I was like on set of Before I Wake, I was really vibrant. That's what they all said. I was really vibrant. And I really had a good, you know, basic idea of what I already wanted. So they
Right.
just said it to me to see where I would go with it. And I didn't even know that they were testing me, and I didn't know it. Like I was just, they were putting things in front of me that they've given, higher paid actors, and I was just doing it without with. Bro, I got screwed in that movie. I think for the first week, um, I was making about, but I didn't. Nothing. None of it went to my agents or anything. But my first check was $800 a day, and
Wow.
that was yeah. You think that's wow, but if you have an agent and you have a manager and you have somebody underneath you, you get a high blockbuster movie like that, especially even if it's on going to be on Netflix. Kate Bosworth made close to, you know, 700, $800,000 just off that one movie.
Well,
So
yeah. Yeah.
she's probably an A-B list actor. So,
Hmm.
but at the same time, I could have been negotiated for maybe like 100 to 200,000. But I made about a quarter of that just from the movie itself. Where I made most of the money was from the residuals,
Hmm.
like people watching it.
Right.
But it was really good. It was really good. Just it put me out there. It was perfect for that. And through the
Totally.
through the executive producers and the director, Mike Flanagan, I got my first agent, who was AKA, or no, I had APA, yeah, APA talent, APA. I have AKA now. So I had APA at the time, and they took me through 6 months after I got done with Before I Wake. They took me directly to South Carolina with a callback before I even did the audition. And they said I was sitting in front of Eli Roth, who's one of the best horror directors ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was 13 years old, and I looked him dead in the eyes, and I was like, "You're Eli Roth." And he's like, "How do you know who I am, kid?" And I was like, I just started giggling, and he goes, "All right, well, let's do this." So the scene was I had to like basically like open my mouth and roll my eyes behind my head, and I had to like
Hmm.
my arms up because you've seen Before I Wake where I had the pastor scene and I had to rip his cheek off.
Yeah.
uh, but that was really fun to do, by the way. They had a prosthetic cheek. And they said you have one chance, don't mess it up. I was like, all right. And it just, bro, it spewed blood everywhere. And I was like, they said, all right, look like a clown. And I was like, they just said, okay, well that's scary enough. And then they once they put it together, like I looked at it and I was like, damn, I'm pretty scared of myself now. Like I look like a little demon. Like I play that way too well.
So what you were just saying, you didn't even have to audition for South of Hell. You were just kind of given it.
Yeah, so I was basically I wasn't given the job. I was given it basically like think about it if I were to be booked off of a single audition.
Hmm.
So but they had me drive all the way to South Carolina. They knew what they wanted from me. They heard about my personality, they heard about all that stuff, which was a good thing.
Right.
So when they come to meet me, they go we really like you, kid. we think you're right for the part. As I'm driving home, I
Mhm.
get that text message. And then my agent calls me. Uh, I also have another agent. Her name is Jay Purvis. Jay Purvis Talent. It's not sure exactly. I'm pretty sure it's based out of Georgia, but they have them all over the country. I think she has one in New York. I'm not sure, but I'm actually gonna Google it before I start saying things that I don't know. But yeah, she was actually the one who helped me with my initial entry into acting, and she helped me with um the Gilmore Girls actually as well. But Gilmore Girls, I think the credit for that was AKA, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I don't know. It's always been a really good, fun time while I was doing it. I've never had a bad time while acting.
Mhm.
Um, and while I was going into it, I always it literally went like this, shot up, and it's kind of just fluttered here for a little while, and I've sprung my head out, but it's hard to sit right here because then
Right.
you're just known as a child actor who has developed his skill and perfected his craft
Mhm.
somewhat to a perfection. I wouldn't say like, but think about it. Like I've been doing this for like 6, 7, almost practically all my life, but I've been doing it like professionally for 6 years.
Right.
So, I after before my stubborn headedness and I would say hard headedness, I should say, but I was always reluctant to wanting to do acting classes. And then I actually started doing acting classes. I started picking up on what other kids were putting down and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
it's not even just like saying that you're bad. It's just being in a room of people who are better than you. Like Michael Jordan once said, he said I was the best basketball player in the world, but he said he very soon was just an all-star, and now there's way better than he is, even in his prime.
Mhm.
So it's just you're always gonna have to find competition because I'm not gonna be Tom Cruise if I don't, minus the weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing actor, one of my idols. But that man behind,
I know. I agree.
yeah. But yeah. Okay. So whenever I'm kind of getting off track, but whenever I went from south of hell, when I got that job, um, they flew me back. Or not flew me. They had me drive back, and we stayed in a hotel. And then my first day on set, they they looked at my hair and they wanted to cut it. I'm pretty sure they did cut my hair. And that was the first time I've ever had my hair cut by somebody that wasn't my mom and that wasn't the lady who's cut my hair for my entire life. So I was super
Mhm.
excited, but my mom's over there biting her nails in the trailer, and
Mhm.
she's so used to cutting my hair.
Yeah.
But it was just a fun experience because right after, bro, we filmed in uh, Charlotte, North Carolina, and right on the water line, it kind of looks like a little bit like downtown, like downtown New Orleans, kind of a little bit. You've been in New Orleans.
Okay. No.
I'm trying to give you somewhere that you know. How have you not gone to New Orleans, man? That's somewhere you gotta go. Um, well, think about it. Think about it as just like old school retro like beach houses, right? Think about it like that.
Yeah.
Um, but we were filming in one of those, and that's where I did the scene where I was all like gelled up and stuff like that. Well, they had this material. I don't know if you remember seeing South of Hell and paid close attention, but on that set there was this goop material, right? that we had to put on our skin and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, or I had to make me look like I was like an undead demon, essentially a demon who had possessed this kid. So it was like a gel from
Mm-hmm.
my disgusting, I don't know what, just gel. But instead of it being anything else, they had to make it sticky, and they put it all through my hair, and they put it around my ears, and they put it around my eyes, and they put it around my neck, put it around my ears, and my arms, and my hands, and like all along my neck and my chest, and around my basically just that central area. And then one time I had to take my shirt off, and they had to put it all around there too. But that material was called methocel. So methocel is a very like how do I say it? It's a very potent substance, right? So you can pour a little bit of it to make a thick bit of like a sticky
Mm-hmm.
substance, right? So it's what they do to basically keep things cold. Like that's what they literally put it in. I found this out, and this is what's made me never drink milkshakes from fast food. Have you ever had a strawberry milkshake or something? Let's say from McDonald's.
I haven't, and I probably know what you're gonna say, but yeah, I haven't had any of that stuff either since I found out. Like,
Yeah, dude, they put meth seal in there, which keeps it
mm-hmm.
cold and keep it in your car.
I know.
That
That's,
isn't that is disgusting. Just the feeling of that on the outside of my body, dude. I was literally peeling it off, and it looked like I had vitiligo.
yeah.
It was literally pulling off the pigment on my skin, and I had
Mm-hmm.
to take the shower and scrub this stuff off of my face. It was horrible. Um, but whenever I got to a point where I got a little bit older, my mom and I started coming out to Los Angeles. And in the beginning, I was kind of a little ditzy. I kind of wanted to focus on like there were all those kids doing musically at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to like fit in and like do stuff with them, and everything about my appearance they would make fun of. So I would just wear these so I wore these like Adidas tennis shoes, and they weren't like Adidas NMDs, so they made fun of me for that. They made fun of the fact that I was wearing like joggers from Target or whatever. Um, and I was just like, all right. And that month, because they're all actors, and we stayed at this place called well, it's had a million names, but it was this like, kind of iconic apartment, like two bedroom apartment, kind of has a little central grocery store kind of stop shop place, has a couple pools and stuff like that. Um, well, all the acting kids come to stay there.
Okay.
And when I went to stay there the first two times, my mom and I were like, we're gonna go stay in an Airbnb, and that was way better for me. But whenever we stayed in these condos, I'm telling you, these kids, they had no. These are the kids who had no acting talent. Their parents, like these, it's so horrible. I'm gonna call them all out right now. But they they all get so wrapped up in the idea of fame that they lose sight of actually being good.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody my age genuinely wants to act because they want to be a good actor. They want to act because they want to be the next Millie Bobby Brown or the next um what's that kid's name? He's freaking everywhere. He's always all through TikTok, and he's done a bunch of movies.
Is it Finn Wolfhard?
Yeah, that kid. Well, one of those kids, but it's just those kids. They have decent acting talent. Don't get me wrong. But that's what kids want to be like now.
Mm-hmm.
But Millie Bobby Brown actually has really good talent. She wants to just keep going with her craft.
Right.
She's still a girl in my eyes. Like she's still young, and these kids they want to wrap up in their youngness, so they want to be young at the same time as wanting to be an actor. But you got to think of the people like Tom Cruise, who when they were 17 years old, kind of hopped up and grabbed up shop and was like, "All right, I'm gonna be an adult and I'm gonna take this acting shit pretty seriously." So
Mm-hmm.
kind of wrapped it all up, and that's what I do, which is a little bit different than the approach of the kids around me. So I don't really care about how much money I'll make from the movie. I'm not concerned of what I'm really concerned of is how big the budget is for the movie. So how big of a movie will it be? How many people will see me do what I'm doing and want to see more of
Mm-hmm.
it?
I thought you were gonna say something else. I thought you were gonna say because I know one thing because I like to look up old interviews like with people like Tom Cruise and Rob Lowe when they were in the '80s and like really young and back when they were starting out. And I know, have you seen Risky Business? Did you know that movie?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So there's an interview on YouTube where Tom is talking with this older lady and he said like it was right. It was when what you were just saying, but he said that he only wants to do a project if it's going to make him personally happy. That's what's most important.
Yeah,
I thought that's what you were going to say, but I'm sure that's probably one of the big factors for you, though. Like if you're personally really
exactly.
invested.
That's what I've always done. Like I've seen certain scripts that are crazy and that are this and that are this. And when I was on South of Hell, it was a really dramatic, kind of atmosphere because I was still
Mm,
young, and the James Manis, the I'm pretty sure he was the producer, uh, lead producer. I'm telling you, I'm gonna go on a spree real quick. This man sounded like a smoker, and he was really like low voice. He was like, "Fuck this shit, fuck. We gotta redo every fucking thing around here. Fucking bullshit." He was horrible, and I would just sit there. I'm like, all right," and he goes, "You're a good." It was like Goodfellas.
oh yeah.
Yeah, but no, he was a really cool guy, and he was really straight up, and he didn't like he was a no nonsense kind of guy, and he was like I like you because you're a no nonsense kind of guy either. He says you come here
Mm,
to work and then you talk later. And I was like, you're a talker, but you talk later.
mm-hmm.
So, he never really complimented me, but he never really insulted me either. So it was kind of like encouragement, like just keep
Right.
up with that kind of mentality. You know what I mean?
So when you were doing that show, and especially in the latter part where your character comes back and you're covered and all that, you know, what you were just talking about,
Yeah.
uh, that's like a really long, super long day on set, isn't it? It's
We
like,
did that for 6 days actually,
oh, okay.
because just in order to get the bedroom set up and to get the staircase set up and to make sure that all the lighting from the outside, because it was a house with a bunch of windows, so they had to make sure that all the panels on the old windows were like covered off so it would look like a ghosty kind of day, but it was super sunny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we were working out of the basement of the house, or like the gallery of the house. So underneath the house, we were working in it, and above the house, we were filming in one bedroom that was recreated and destroyed to look like my bedroom. But we filmed two other scenes that were later in the episode in that same time frame. So whenever we were setting up to get it, like it was super nice for like 4 days. And then
Mm-hmm.
they had to destroy it, and that's when I could do the destroying scene. And then that scene took about 2 or 3 days.
Okay. Yeah, because I know. I mean, I'm sure it still happens nowadays, but it was, I think, more common back then when there was a lot of things going on in the scene on set or for a TV show. I know people had to be on set for like 14 plus hours. And I don't know. That's rough.
Dude, I'm telling you, I can every single job I've worked for, besides Gilmore Girls, because they were extremely just that with their, because it's Warner Brothers. I was on the Warner Brothers set filming Gilmore Girls. Like that's
Hmm.
they
Yeah, that's
that's
cool.
that you can't really mess around. But on Before I Wake, man, we were all every crew member, every cast member, everybody was like running on 2.5 hours of sleep one day, coming to set at 4 o'clock in the morning and not leaving till the same time that night. Um,
Right.
you know, Ridiculous hours for a kid my age, but then at the same time, it's like I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was amazing. It was golden. It was the best thing ever. I was hanging
Mm.
out with, because imagine me. I was 4'10", maybe, maybe. I'm barely 5'5", too. So
Hmm.
I was 4'10" then, right? But I had this big personality. I've always hung out with adults. I've always been around older people. I'm never really like, if I hang out with kids my age, they're ahead of the curve more than me in some ways, which is why I keep them around. Uh,
Hmm.
but whenever I like act on those kinds of uh, scenes, like whenever I go like on those type of sets, those are my favorite. I wish I could be on more of them because I'm sitting there and I'm around raunchier people than I am because I'm just a boy, literally just a boy. Like my innocence comes within like the beach. That's because I grew up in a household before my parents got divorced, before any ridiculous domestic violence, nah, blah 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 blah. Before any of that nonsense, I literally lived in Florida. I literally sailed, fished, and did sports like soccer and swam.
Yeah, like your IMDb bio says.
Yeah, my dad wrote that when I was like 11, so that was before all that stuff happened. But I
Hmm.
was literally just a normal kid. Like I was just nothing like no. You can't force. Think about it like this: you can't force a lesson that has to be taught.
Right.
You can't force somebody to learn a lesson that they have to experience to learn.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I'd never felt like real trauma, real pain, real anger, real sense of frighten, real sense of fear, real sense of endangerment, real sense of uh, you know
You mean in general?
just in general, out of anything,
Mm.
because my life was literally a picture perfect. I had everything handed to me on a silver spoon.
Right.
Um, that gets taken when that gets taken away from you when you're a really young kid and you don't know why. You know, no answers as to why my parents weren't together anymore. No
Hmm.
answers as to why me being 12 years old, you know, going across the street at my old house and catching my dad, not in the action, but I caught on to my dad cheating on my mom with the neighbor's best friend.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was 12 years old and I came in my house and I said, Mom, look, you know, dad ever cheats on you, it's gonna be with him. And I was right, and that caused, a whole debacle, and that caused from warrants, and that caused, all kinds of things to just spark up that weren't, that were something you saw on TV. They weren't something that actually happened in your life. And then when they
Hmm.
started happening in your life, you started feeling this sense of paranoia and this sense of you know, fear, like it just of the world,
Mhm.
realizing how minuscule you are really. So you want to make more of an impact.
Right.
Exactly what I wanted to do. So it just fueled me even more. So it's just, that's what's just irritated me because over my acting career, everything really came before the whole big just like the Big Bang. You know what I mean? Like I that was still when I was younger. That's all my. I know that's younger, but I'm still only 17. But
Mhm.
when I filmed Before I Wake, that was before anything happened. When I filmed South of Hell, it was happening while we were gone. When I went to LA to film Gilmore Girls, um, it had kind of my parents had gotten they were going through a divorce at the time. So then by the time I got home, I was completely done with everything. So I'd
Mhm.
done one little commercial, but I haven't even seen that air. So I'm really just I'm really just waiting for this last couple 6 months to come up, and what
Yeah.
is I got myself a little job out here, and I should make about like 5 or 6 grand just to go up to
What is it?
uh oh a couple of them actually. One I'm gonna start doing. So since I live in Pensacola, like in Florida, like Destin and all that area, we do charter fishing. So I'm
Oh.
gonna be a little deckhand.
Oh, that's what you, okay.
Yeah. Um, but whenever I whenever I decide to leave, which I think I'm gonna do when I'm still 17, I think end of Christmas. Um, I'm going to California and I'm gonna stay with my buddy Aaron, and we've set up a whole thing. We're gonna start filming short films. We're gonna start filming uh, little movies. We're gonna start writing movies. We're gonna start you know modeling. We're gonna start our own clothing brand, like the whole 9 yards. And
Mhm.
we've got a whole line of how we're gonna do it. We've got like 8 people under our belt. So it's just and we're gonna go to a lot of parties and talk to people, and it's just like it's so fun because you want to know how I met this kid?
Are they in the same line of business?
Yeah, the yes they are.
Okay.
But I met him while I was on a Lime scooter, like those little electric scooters that you have
Oh.
in LA.
Mhm.
I was literally racing this man.
Oh.
I was literally racing this man, and like literally slide in front of him because LA has this like district unit, so you can't pass a district with the bike with the little scooter because then you go
Oh.
out of their limit.
Mhm.
So basically, this I, I ride in front of this kid, and he looks at me, and we get to talking for a minute. So um, I basically take him, and so this is when my mom went back home for business when I was in LA.
Mhm.
I met him like a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago. So whenever I was there, I was about there for about 5 months. Um, I met him like the first week I was there, and my mom left because she had to take care of some business in back home, so she left me there, and
Right.
I was taking care of get my Ubers back and forth to places and making sure I could have all the food I needed. I did that for two
Mhm.
weeks. So I can't stand hearing kids my age, man, say some bullshit like, I can't. There's no food in the house, or there's no this. I'm like, I took care of myself. Walk to a grocery store. You know,
Right.
I had to feed off my own money. I was cautious as to what I could spend and as to what I can't. I can't just go like run around and go buy a filet mignon or some shit like I can in
Mhm.
LA. But I was like, I went and visited. I took myself like places. I figured out what I could do, what I couldn't do, where I could go, where I couldn't go. Figured out my
Mhm.
limits, and that's what people do when they're in their 30s. So
Right.
yeah, so I was just I was kind of getting my bearings straight, and then I meet this kid, and then I was like, all right. Well, I called my mom. I was like, hey, I'm inviting him over. She goes, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. And because she wasn't there, she didn't want me to. Because he's
Mhm.
25, and he's like a brother to me now. But this guy comes over, and so I've always been kind of how do you say?
Like
I'm kind
solitary.
of
Oh,
what'd you say?
I thought you were gonna say like solitary.
Oh no, but that too. Um, I'm a very outgoing, flamboyant person. Like when I talk to someone,
Yeah.
very engaging. But at the same time, I'm also very like I come back to my own little ball
Hmm.
because nobody understands the ball, so it just keeps rolling by itself. If that makes sense.
There was something back when you were talking about South of Hell that pretty important question. When you were, doing all that creepy stuff, or in the first scene that you have in that, um, what were you what were you thinking of to get yourself in that kind of evil mindset? Like, yeah, I was curious about that. Do you even remember?
Honestly, it just that seems just this seems conceited, but it just kind of comes to me. So it's like I'll just take about like okay, this is what just happened in the scene. It's about to be my part to go up. I just paid attention to what he said. I'm taking a part of what the director said. Took a part of what the producer said a little bit, and now I'm gonna add my twist to it with what I think I should do.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I kind of let that compile for a second, like a mad scientist with some
Hmm.
chemicals in a beaker, um, and then it'll just go. And once it does, I'll be like, all right, oh yeah, yeah, that's how I need to do it. And then
So, um, so you never really like thought of it you doing anything evil to people to channel that, like killing someone or something.
see, that's the thing. It's like when I was thinking of it, I was thinking of like a rab. Like think about how I wasn't thinking about when I bit the cheek off of the pastor's face of how that would happen. I
Hmm.
always love like Nat Geo, dude. Like I'm obsessed with Nat Geo. That shit is on my TV 24/7. But
Mm.
that British guy who talks about animals like it's a delicacy. It's just like it's so perfect. But
Yeah.
um, but he'll talk about lions like ripping gazelles like just coming up to him and just elegantly like ripping their like
Right.
chunks of their flesh out with like 5,000 pounds of force just in their neck.
Hmm.
So this prosthetic that they put on his cheek was about this thick, and the middle layer was what I had to pull off. So it was this thick, and it was in two layers. One was adhesive to go against his skin, and one was not adhesive for me to peel off with my teeth. So there was a
Hmm.
little tab right here, which they cut out with CGI. There's a little, not a big tab. It was about this big. Oh shit! It was about this big. Um, and they basically told me, "Hey, you need to bite this off." Like, okay, so
Hmm.
I get on top of him so they can't see me behind me. So it's like I'm pretending like I'm struggling. So they were like, right here, just pretend like you're struggling to move your head around, like you're eating him. So I was just doing it as like cannibalistic as I thought I could, like I'm just ripping the flesh out of this guy, and I just
Hmm.
grabbed his cheek and I just ripped it off, and then I had my eyes big, and then I had somebody grab my arms, both of my arms back here, so my arms were limp, so I just like let myself get limp, and I just like used no emotion besides my eyes, and my
Hmm.
eyes just like they were empty. Like I
Right.
just there's no emotion of me killing this guy because I'm a demon. There's no emotion to that.
Hmm.
So I put my neck like I basically like thought of myself as I was dead. So I killed Hunter and I was just this character, and this character has no life. So I was just
Okay.
completely dead. Like it's just a completely dead look. It was like almost a mischievous look of like the demon took over my body and just did this, and then
Right.
boom, kid comes back in.
Well, I wanted to ask that because I know a lot of actors who have done serial killer roles or whatever. They say it's hard to, when they get that into it, it's hard to kind of step back. Like it takes some time for them to fully become a normal person again because they're thinking so much in that character. Like, oh, I want to kill somebody, or like they're so into
See,
that character that it's like,
the thing is like if you're a Christian Bale kind of guy, I mean, yeah. But
yeah.
think about the intense ass roles that guy does. That man like starved himself and then gained, 85, not 85, probably like 100 pounds to be Batman. So
Hmm.
it's just insane when you really like sit down and think about how much you've done. Somebody's done more than you. So if you really feel like you're
Yeah.
pushing yourself that hard, you're really not. You can do way more than you think you even pondered. And it's that's what's
Hmm.
so intriguing to me because it's like you think you're the best. Well, I'll show you the best. Like I just want to,
Hmm.
I want to put my mark in as like instead of talking about, oh, I'm so humble, I've got all this stuff, I've got all this stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to let my humility talk for me. I want to keep myself completely quiet. If I post anything on social media, it's I have the stuff on my Snapchat is just my daily life. But whenever I
Hmm.
post on, like I haven't posted anything on Instagram because it's like I'm not doing anything like I want to be doing. You know what I mean? Like I want to post, so I'm just not gonna
Right.
post. It's pointless. So if I have something I want people to see, especially fans, especially somebody who want to follow me, I'm gonna start posting stuff like that.
Hmm.
As of right now, I see that as kind of vague and pointless as to what my mission is right now. That should be the least thing I'm worried about. But see, that's what kids mainly worry about now. And that's what I hate about producers and production companies now. Because they'll focus on a kid who has 100,000 followers on Instagram versus picking a kid who has, like me, 2,800.
Hmm.
Put us in a room and you give us 16 pages of lines. Let's see who learns it in about 2 hours, front to back. Me,
Right.
I will. We'll see that kid try. And I'm not saying any other kid can't do that. I'm just saying I'm a really competitive person and I will make my mark and I'm not going to come all the way here just to shit and giggle. Like you guys come and do this stuff all the time. I don't get the opportunity to. I got flown
Hmm.
out to Netflix studios one time for a TV show and they never got filmed, but I got called by the director and told that he was rooting for me personally. And I came
Yeah, you
there.
were telling me about that when it happened.
That made my heart dum, 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 boom. Like I was in the airport talking to this guy. And
Hmm.
when I get home, or not home, but when I get there, it's big N on the building, and I'm like, that's the Netflix logo. And I walk in there, and it just like snacks. Oh, and they were free, dog, bro. Every drink you could think of, every, and they were all in like if you wanted a Coke, it was in a glass bottle. You wanted a Sprite, it was in a glass bottle. I was like, what
Hmm.
the fuck? Like, what kind of luxury? Like, every chip you wanted. And I was just like, I'm not kidding you. I went over, grabbed a bunch of stuff, and shoved it in my backpack because I know later that night my mom and I were going to go back home to,
Yeah.
so I was like, plain snacks.
Yeah.
And I got caught. And they were like, "Hey, Hunter," and I was like, handful of snacks. So I couldn't shake his hand. So I put my snacks down. I'm like, "Oh, excuse that," and I shook his hand. And he goes, "Take as much as you want." And I said, "You don't have to tell me twice." And you know, it's just I just know how to interact with adults that some kids don't. Like, you know how some kids are like, "Hi."
Hmm.
Um, I've kind of overcome my own insecurities because it's like I can like me as a person, I hate doing that. I hate shaking somebody's hand. Like I'd rather if I'm really close with you, I'd rather just like grab your hand, dap you up, and just give you a little hug real quick, or just like just sit back and relax and talk to you. But if I really need to be like, oh hi, nice to meet you. Oh yeah, blah 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 blah. I'm a really chill, laid back person, but I can be analytical and you know
Right.
just make it seem like I don't know what the business as usual, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like I can be business and I can just like me as a person, I'm chill, laid back, but that's really not what gets people. And what gets people is people, seeing who you are. And you can't let somebody see who you are if you're just chill. So you kind of gotta
Hmm.
know how to put parts of yourself together that are
Hmm.
interesting and intriguing to people, which also becomes a very, very kind of, if I should say, kind of fucked up idea or ideal, because then you're kind of making yourself uh, more appealing to other people, and you're kind of forgetting what you want.
Hmm.
So that's why a lot of, in my opinion, I feel a lot of actors that get, that are in the limelight like a Lindsay Lohan or something like that. So think about
20 years ago.
yeah, but but think about that. Like for 20 almost for like 15 straight years, this like she had a persona that she had to consistently retain,
Yeah.
and if she didn't hold up to that persona, she got a little like depressed, and then she started portraying that, and then she started being like, there's a Bella Thorne, like she's now made $2 million off, she made more money in a day off selling her sex tapes than she did in her entire Sam and Cat, like
Yeah.
like what? Well,
Hmm.
that's not Sam and Cat. That was that's Ariana Grande. But still, like you see what I mean?
Hmm.
Ariana Grande broke up with Mac Miller. He killed himself. It's all her fault.
Yeah.
It's a triangle. But but no, dude. I don't know. I don't really appeal to anyone. I don't feel the need to say like I have to appeal to you, but I just have a business personality.
Hmm.
And I know how to act when I need to know how to act the way I need to act. But then behind closed doors, I can say what I want to do, act how I want to act. But soon I'm gonna have to become more careful with that because I just feel like a shockwave of stardom coming up upon me, and people literally feed off of negativity just to like make you seem bad, like to debunk you immediately as soon as you come on the screen.
Hmm.
So the more you succeed, the more shit they're gonna want to find on you. So it's like growing up, there's literally nothing to find about me besides me, cussing in the car with my mom, uh, or you know, being a rambunctious little kid who had a super big personality and just wanted to talk to everybody. Um, but no, I've become more antisocial now. Like
Well, it's pretty obvious. Just, I mean, based off from your Snapchat stories.
I've become extremely antisocial now, and it's before I used to want to interject interject Hunter into everything. I wanted to be, oh my god, I wanted to be, oh my god, I need to hang out with this person. Oh my god, I need to hang out with this person. Oh my god, I need to hang out with this person. Oh my god, I need to hang out with this person. You know what I mean? And then
Well,
so
that's that kind of comes with age, though, too.
yeah, that's very true because I was vaguely just oblivious to everything, and then as I got older, everything came to my attention because of like so. It, I kind of caught on 3 or 4 years before everybody else did because the kids. Okay, so when I was 13 years old, I was about as smart as the kids who are around me, 16 and 17 years old.
Hmm.
Now that I'm almost 18, I'm functioning better than some 20-year-olds that are just going to recruit themselves in the military. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, but it's a great thing to do. But some people, it's a mindless thing to do. It's just like their
Yeah.
parents did it, you do it.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, cool, man. Like, go do you. Honestly, my dad was in the Navy, but I wanted to be a Navy SEAL for the longest time, and I still kind of want to. I was thinking of what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work my ass off, and I'm gonna book a movie, and I'm gonna make a really, really, really big movie before I turn about 26 years old, and then I'm gonna train like a monster truck, and I'm just gonna go to the Navy SEALs, put in like 4 or 5 years. I know that sounds like just going to Navy SEALs, but if you think about it, like if I get personally trained and I've booked a movie and I have enough money for it, oh, trust me, I'll be able to like handle Hell Week, and I'll do it just to say I can, because it's like just the feeling of not. That's the only thing I want to do. The feeling of becoming uh, essentially like the animal that you are, like coming more in tune with yourself. Think about it like this: like they have a drill where they tie two 45-pound weights to you, and they send you underneath a 12 foot deep pool, right? Like the inside pool, so
Yeah.
it's swimming, and they'd have you just walking on the bottom of the water, and until you kind of you know gulp in some water, or you kind of like freak out and you just kind of like go into shock. What will happen
Yeah.
is it's supposed to be a crew. You have 4 people in front of you, 4 people behind you, and as you're walking, somebody above you is gonna come like get you and rescue you within the same minute.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you're kind of getting over the fear of drowning.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculous thing. But it's like that's what's so cool to me. It's just like, okay. And plus, think about this: if I become a Navy SEAL, I decided to, because right now what I'm deciding to do is I want to go into a trade school. I want to, my junior and senior year of high school, I want to go to do a trade. Um, so I was thinking about doing engineering. So imagine that, engineer, actor, Navy SEAL. After I'm done being a Navy SEAL, I build a couple of my own cars, and I, get a little bit older, maybe in my 50s, and I start acting again, or start directing and make enough money and start directing and producing my own movies. And that's the kind of lifestyle that I want to live. I don't want to live like a ridiculous stardom. But if it does come, like I won't let it get to my head because it's just not the kind of person I am. I will end up doing something like going to the military because you know how like Michael Jordan he went and did baseball because it was his I guess his something his dad wanted him to do. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to go to the military because my dad wants me to do it. I want to
Yeah.
go be a Navy SEAL because I want to do it and because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like you know some of the hardest Navy SEAL. So I was thinking like be able to do something like that, be able to get into music, be able to just broaden my horizon through my life. Like I don't want to stop because there's some people who just like succeed at acting and then they're like, okay, well now I'm just gonna post on Instagram for the next 30 years until I die.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, like no, I'm gonna have energy till I'm dead, and until I'm dead, I'm gonna keep doing stuff until people are like, oh man, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to I want to keep acting, and then when I don't want to do this right now. Boom! I've already done trade mechanics, so I can get my mechanics license within a year, and buy my own shop. Then boom! I'm working on mufflers for 2 3 years, and fixing up cars and stuff like that. That's also one of my biggest dreams because it's just like the mechanics of how an engine works. It's just intriguing to me. So boom, when I get bored of that, I can, I can go to the military and spend a couple years, and that completely changes a person. So if you go do something like that, and then come back to an experience like acting, especially if I'm in my 30s, think about how you would act. Think about how much better of an actor you could be, or what kind of parts you could play and portray. Being an actor, and as well as experiencing some of those things, you can do some like combat movies like better than Liam Hemsworth could ever do. So
Hmm.
it's like be Iron Man better than Iron Man could ever be. Well, no,
I think it's well. I think it's. I mean, it's hard for anybody, but it seems easier to do a combat kind of thing when you're a musical artist in comparison to being an actor because I don't know if you know like Sharon Stone very well, like who she is, because she had like a brain tumor and that like almost ruined her career because even though she got back over it, like she was viewed as damaged goods by Hollywood, and it took her a long time before she got good roles again.
damn, it's
And
good.
she was already in like Casino, like the Martin Scorsese movie, and she was in like Basic Instinct, and a lot of really big movies in the '90s. And then after that happened, it's like, oh, you're kind of like dead to us now.
Casino was a great movie.
Yeah,
That was with Robert De Niro, wasn't it?
yeah.
What characters did she play?
She's like the main female lead. She's
The
blonde.
wife? His wife? I'm pretty sure.
You might know better than I do.
Yeah, because I just watched that movie the other day. Again, I haven't seen it since I was like 15. I watched it and I forgot how batshit banshees that chick is.
Yeah.
It's a good movie though. It's one of those ones that keeps you on your feet because at the very end, Robert De Niro gets almost blown up. Just like, oh,
Hmm.
I didn't see that coming. You ever seen the movie Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
Dog,
I think everyone knows that movie.
murder, murder, kill, kill, just
Yeah.
till the very end. Like I remember the first time ever watching that. I kind of like vaguely remembered it, and I was like, all right, I'll watch it again. And then as of being older, like older and paying attention to movies that are older, like
Right.
it's really like you just see the pure hatred in these people's eyes. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, this sugarcoat, like you can't sugarcoat that. Like these are real, 80s dudes, 70s dudes who genuinely smoke cigarettes every day, like they do in the videos that they're showing, like or in the like the clips they're showing in the movie, which is
Hmm.
why it looks so good with them smoking and putting a cigarette out in the ashtray, and you
Right.
know what they're doing. So it's like just the authenticity was just different. It's like that's what I want to be at. Like I want to have done some stuff in my life that I can match the authenticity in my scripts,
Right.
in my auditions. So like my favorite and most versatile actor probably has to be Christian Bale because it's just the amount of movies that I've seen that guy do. I could do it, I could do everyone, and that I know that sounds cocky from me, like saying like, oh, I could do what Christian Bale did, but as a young kid, like growing up in it, he grew up in it. And he kind of started when he was around my age, but my whole entire existence has revolved around this since I was a little kid.
Hmm.
Just make fun of me for it. Maybe you want to stop it. Maybe you want to do this. Boom, booked another show. Maybe you want to stop it. Maybe you want to do this. Boom, booked another thing. And then they're like kissing my ass.
Hmm.
So it's just like now, it's like you want to ignore me, you want to ignore me, then I wanted to please you, and then you wanted to, use me, and then after I'm done with letting you use me, I realize that I have to become antisocial to create what I want to create, and that's the kind of spiral that I needed to happen. You know what I mean? Because if that spiral didn't
Hmm.
happen, then I wouldn't be in the place that I'm in right now with the mentality I have.
Right.
Because I wouldn't, I
I,
would, I wouldn't want to like go to the like I wouldn't feel so comfortable wanting to succeed and have all this stardom and fame if I wasn't fully wrapped up in the character and what I actually want to do. But I know what I want to do. I've known what I wanted to do forever. It's just a matter of making it happen.
Well, I was gonna tell you that a good, you probably already know this, but a really good way to put yourself out there and get noticed by just in general is because the one other actor I'm friends with who's a year older than you and he lives in Chicago. He's been in a bunch of short films and he's friends with Ty Simpkins. I'm sure you know who that is. Um, and they're like really good friends and uh, this this guy Beck Nolan is his name, and like they're gonna be roommates after like once Beck moves to LA, and most of Beck's stuff is all short films because he lives in Chicago. He's never been to LA, so and that's already like how he's gotten noticed for stuff. And I think short films are a really easy way nowadays to put yourself on the map.
Oh yeah, definitely. But there's literally no production here at all. There's no short
Right.
films going on. There's literally nothing
Hmm.
here, especially because it's just such a small town. So it's just I know this sounds really just like off a little bit, but it's like I've never. Most people it takes them like a year to get back in the loop, but I'll leave LA and leave talking to my agents every day and leave talking to my manager every day and leave getting up every morning at 6 o'clock and having to get your school done within 4 hours and to make sure that you can make all your appointments, do all the things you need to do, and meet the deadlines of your school.
Yeah.
I've been able to do all that. So it's like, why can't I do that as an adult? But then at the same time, I'm also gonna have to like fall back on something because it's like unless right now while I'm 17 and I go out to LA and I'm working with Aaron and all them and I work with him at the bakery that he works at and we're both making 12.50 an hour or whatever working in
Mm.
LA, he makes enough. We have like 8 roommates. We have a pretty nice like house. We have two separate um, condos out there and or apartments. And but we have MMA people. We have some people. Aaron knows how to play guitar. We've got people to help us film. I know a Vogue photographer, but we have like everybody that we're moving in the house with is all kind of or I'm moving in the house with is all in the same field, or if not in the same field, in the same mindset. If that makes sense. We all want to succeed. We all want to get to a higher
Right.
piece of what we're doing, and basically, like that's the whole reason we're there.
So it's,
So,
so it's not like a. So you're all like doing your own thing though. It's not like a hype house kind of shit.
oh no, 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 it's not hype house shit at all. But Aaron and a couple of us, what we're doing, because there's about 5 actors, five or not, there's one other actor who's due, and then there's me, and then there's Aaron who acts as well, and then there's a couple females who we have to do some of the short film parts that we do. And see, Aaron writes.
Yeah.
This is the kid that I met in L.A. And Aaron writes. Whenever he writes, he's always put me in his scripts. So we have like 6 or 7 short films waiting for me to be out there to film with professional filmers and stuff like that. And it's just a matter of time. And I feel like once I get those out, we're gonna make a series. So we're gonna make a YouTube series of all of our short films.
Is it
And
all like what are they all different genres or is it all kind of the same thing?
we are gonna do different genres, but we're gonna do like a 1, 2, 3 episode collab, and then we're gonna do a 1, 2, 3 and a 1, 2, 3. So
Okay.
basically, 1, 2, 3 was gonna be one story, and then 1, 2, 3 is gonna be another story. 1, 2, 3 is gonna be another story. And
Yeah.
but first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna build our brand. So we really we're gonna build our brand as in meaning like we're gonna you know just kind of show us off. Like even if it's just like it's gonna be it sounds awful, but like this is like the new wave of how to get yourself known is TikTok. And if it doesn't if it doesn't get taken down, there's Instagram. And
Hmm.
Instagram is like what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to make like those uh, what are those?
Reels.
yeah, you make reels, and then you also get sponsors.
Yeah.
You put the sponsors on there, and they allow more people to see you and let you be on the homepage, but you have to buy those, or you buy ads. They basically sponsor you to have be on the front page. But
Right.
once it's it's all a matter of like the finesse game. Uh, so we're gonna have to kind of play the system in a modern day way. You know what I mean? Because back in
Hmm.
the day, I really wish like just the authenticity of cars. Like think about listening to um. All right, you're better at this. Name a band in the '70s.
Foreigner.
Okay, yeah, Foreigner. Okay, so let's think. You're blasting Foreigner in your '67 Dodge, or not '67, in your '74 Dodge Challenger, and you've got a mullet and a mustache, and you're smoking a Marlboro Red. What's more authentic than that, than having a bunch of computers and gadgets, and you have to figure this out and figure that out and figure that out? It was just like authentic person to authentic person. If you were real and you really know what you wanted, and somebody saw that in you, boom. Now it's how many Instagram followers do you? I was using that as an analogy. I don't really think of somebody like just like everybody like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just a straight up authenticity, straight up originality, and the straight up like just rigid, you know, brutal blatance. You don't have any remorse to being you. Just you.
Hmm. Right.
I just see that as admirable. So it's like I want to find out a way to get people to like that in modern day times. Because now you got to be everybody's bitch.
Yeah.
If you're not somebody's bitch, you're not famous.
Hmm.
And that's to me that I think that's awful. But I don't want to be fame, stardom, blah 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 blah. Um, at all. I don't want to do that. I want to be a beacon of
Yeah.
inspiration. I want to be somebody who can stand on a podium and talk about, you know, mental health, talk about suicide awareness, talk about suicide prevention, talk about talking more. People really ought to talk more. They really hide in themselves, and it gets you nowhere.
Right.
When at the same time, you also need to find somebody who you're comfortable in confiding in with. Because if you
Hmm.
find so, you can't just it's. I also want to just be able to talk to people about like you need to learn how to trust, but you can't trust everybody. But you also can't live in this mindset of you can't trust anybody, so I got to keep everything to myself. No, you just watch what you say to certain people and filtrate how you respect yourself and respect what you think you can say and what you can't. And see, that doesn't those lessons don't get taught in today's society anymore
Hmm.
at all. They don't. Like they're like kids are literally handed phones at 9 or 10 years old. And my ex girlfriend's little sister, I love her to death. Her name's Natalie. And but this girl literally like takes pictures of her like selfies, and it's
Bad. Yeah.
just like this is stuff that I see that like 16-year-olds, and it's like she'll go put her room mirror outside to pose in it outside, and it's like no, like I'm gonna take your phone away from you and drop kick it across like the ocean. I will literally skip your phone across the Gulf of Mexico. Like you need to be outside doing something. Like here's a guitar. Learn the guitar.
Yeah.
When I was 12 years old, I got handed a phone, but that phone was an iPhone 4.
Hmm.
They really had no speed to do anything besides literally take a picture or call somebody or text somebody.
Yeah.
And dude, there's so many. I don't know if you saw that on my story one time, but I took a video from my phone of uh, I took a video of my phone of my old iPhone 4, and it's literally a little video of me dancing around like a little crazy lunatic.
Well, I think when I first added your Snapchat, I think, and like you added me back, whatever. I think that was right after you did Gilmore Girls. So I
Yes.
saw all that stuff. Yeah.
But Gilmore Girls, man, after I filmed that, um, that's when like that was the first time I ever like basically got in a fight, I would say, and I was about 98. Like, think about this. I was 14, 98 to like 110 pounds, maybe. Like that. Like, I don't really remember weighing myself, but that's about how much I weighed.
What do you mean fight though? You mean physically?
Yeah, I got in like a physical fight.
About what? Like while you were in LA?
No, 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 no.
Oh.
This is completely separate. So,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
yeah, no. So, whenever I was whenever I was a little bit younger, my that when I came back from LA, that's when the whole domestic dispute came around. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that's when for the first time ever I was like, felt like inferior to like I felt like I was just a pawn, if that makes sense. Like a pawn, I could just disappear. So I was like, I don't want to leave without making a mark that I'm comfortable with making.
Mm,
So I was like, that kind of took initiative into me getting stronger as a person. So it wasn't even just physically, it was mentally. So it
right.
was a lot of self help books. It was a lot of, uh, honestly, a lot of Socrates. Um, I learned a lot at, like, mainly from my brothers telling me what to read. But at the same time, just through music. And I bought a bunch of records when I was in LA. And then when I come back here, I would just listen to them and they'd calm me back down. But I'm gonna read some of them off to you. You're gonna love them. But so basically,
What is it?
I gained about when I was back home, I gained about 30 pounds, and then I decided to start reading those self help books and starting to get into music more. And when I got into music more, I was about 13, 14. I stopped listening to just because when I was younger, I grew up on classic rock, like
Yeah,
AC/DC, Guns N' Roses. I grew up on that kind of eclectic, southern, brass beat rock,
yeah,
which I love to death. But then I started getting into more like, you know, guitarist rock, and I started getting into more like vocal rock. I started getting into more like musical rock. I started getting into more like, trippy rock. So
yeah.
I'm trying to find some stuff. We can hold that. You ever had some vinyl or something like that you didn't want anybody to see?
You mean like that I would be like embarrassed that people knew I listened to it?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I
So,
really, I really like Prince.
oh, bro, I love Prince, so you can't even get me there.
Yeah, that's that don't
Uh,
really have me, I guess.
so when I was 14, the first ever no 13, the first ever piece of vinyl I ever bought.
What is it? Oh,
Sticks.
Stick. Oh yeah,
My gosh. And then I got this too. It literally just says Rare Hendrix. So it has Hot Trigger, Suspicious, Bring My Baby Back, and Good Times on it. And then on the other side it has Good Feelings, Voice in the Wind, Go Go Shoes Part One and Part Two. So those songs aren't on like I don't think they're on. I'm pretty sure if I remember right, me checking, they aren't on Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that.
yeah.
So these songs, bro, I've never heard before.
Hmm.
So, and the piece of vinyl is awesome. Like, it literally just says "Trip."
Yeah, that's cool.
Um, I got some. You know what this is?
Yeah, Zeppelin.
Um, you definitely know what this is.
It's not. Oh, Elton John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You noticed when you saw the giant glasses.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I love it. That man's like, he's honestly one of the best, if not. I can't say the best because there's never the best, but he just had a way of like being able to infiltrate somebody's mind with his words, even though they didn't make sense. Like, 'cause whenever he would write a song, it was never about what he was actually talking about. It had hidden meanings, like underlined meanings.
Yeah.
So really, I really started liking Elton John when I was younger. Then I got into Jimi Hendrix a lot. I got into old the CD. This is that's the same one as I have right there. It's the package it came in. And then I have his smash hits, which are Purple Haze, Fire, The Wind Cries Mary, Can You See Me, Hey Joe, Stone Free, Manic Depression. That's a good song. Foxy Lady, Crosstown Traffic, All Along the Watchtower is my favorite song. And then Red House, and then Remember. So those are all like my favorite songs by Jimi Hendrix. And then I have some Janis Joplin. Um, uh, I don't know if you're really into jazz or anything like that, but I have some Gene Moyes. I think that's how you say his last name. A-M-M. Gene um, Ammons. Ammons. I'm retarded.
Yeah.
Um, and then you have I got some Woody Allen.
Like a comedy album.
Yeah. I got some. I don't remember, but Peter Gerbil. I don't know what the hell that is. Nice and easy. That's nothing. And I got Sex Mouse by Leroy Daniels. So I like vinyl, man. Vinyl kind of sets me in a different kind of just old school mood. Like it's just like
Yeah.
scratches and stuff like that, and the crinkles. Think about how people like is we have to go back to our daily lives, again on our laptops and our phones and all our jazz. Think about how it was in like the '60s and the '50s and the '40s. Everything was just so much more simple, and there was nothing really to worry about besides like doing what you wanted to do. And if you wanted to do what you want to do, you had to work really fast. Now everybody's trying to like make their way around, like trying to find a way. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everyone does it.
Well, you wouldn't even have to quite go back that far. I mean, even like in the
Yeah,
80s and 90s,
yeah, exactly.
better.
Like, yeah, I could go back into like It's like now you hear the term like just sell your soul. It's just like people can easily just like sign a contract after not being anything, like these little Dixie D'Amelio girls or whatever,
Mm,
or like the I'm not dissing them. Like screw them, but to have 24 million followers after like literally hitting a vape and somebody like ridiculing you, like when
yeah.
24 million followers, people are gonna find shit like that of me. They're gonna find worse than that of me.
Yeah.
And so the thing is they're gonna be like, if they have something to say, I'll be 18. You know what I mean? Like I'll be old enough to be like, I was younger then. Like you can't really.
Right.
But think about this. This girl is the same age. Like she's 16 now.
Hmm.
She's still doing 16-year-old girl things. She's just a girl who got famous off an app for literally shaking her ass
Yeah,
and
that's
having
crazy.
really good hip movement. Like, hats off to your hip movement, girl. But some stretches that you can find on YouTube can cause that, and some really good lighting angles can cause that too. And some pretty good genetics. So you're pretty
Mhm.
blessed. I don't think you're blessed enough to have that many followers. Like, and that to me, like, I'm not jealous about that.
Yeah.
I'm not downing her at the same time either. I just don't.
Mhm.
I mean, technically, I kind of just did, but I
Do you
don't.
like? Because well, it's not. I mean, they're not like a social media person, but the only like modern musical artist I really listen to is Billie Eilish.
Do you listen
Are
to?
you really? Yeah, I actually like her stuff.
Yeah, she has a really good voice. She has a very
I
good
wasn't.
voice.
I wasn't sure if you would be into her or not.
Oh yeah, no, dude. Like I find certain people intriguing. Like I don't. Her style's fucking wacko. Like there's
Yeah.
no functionality in it at all. But I think that's what she likes. Like it's just like a beacon of who she is because she doesn't really like. I've always liked the clean cut Tom Cruise kind of style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the 80, like the early night, like the late or early 90s kind of style of having like Randolph sunglasses and just kind of being kept up. I don't know. That just seems a little bit more like appealing to me than like painting my fingernails and
Yeah.
dyeing my hair like it's a trend now for guys. I don't know. I it's just one thing I really have a discomfort with right now in our society is people like James Charles.
What do you mean? What do you mean discomfort?
Not because he's gay, but I have discomfort because
You just mean like the whole makeup community or what?
I mean that he's inspiring young boys, too young to kind of make decisions like that. Like 8-year-old boys. Like there's an 8-year-old boy who follows him on TikTok and all that stuff. Literally like recreates all his videos and like uses his makeup palettes and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like you. This sounds horrible, man, but it's like you don't really know. Like you've not really made up your mind. Like right now, he's just putting makeup on. But what's that going to lead? That's going to lead to a lot of kids bullying him. A lot of kids calling him gay. A lot of kids calling him this, that, or the other. So it's not going to end well if that's because it's just like those kinds of people don't need to be in that much. Don't need to have that much power. Like have that much influence. Like nor does people like Cardi B. That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
people who literally make a song called "Wet Ass Pussy." No, I'm so like, dude, that doesn't. That's not good
Yeah.
for our generation. That's what you want for our generation. That's what you want for our kids. That's what you want for the next us. And that's what I want to be because I'm us. I am what they're trying to teach. So it's like
Right.
I want to grow up a little bit and be like, yeah, there's a couple Migos songs that are cool, but it's like that was way before they started being so rich that they could literally do whatever they wanted.
Mm,
You get like Kylie Jenner, and you get people like all these other people, and you get people like Jeffrey Epstein. They get so old with all this money and in this much power after having nothing in their lives or just like working for everything and literally knowing nothing else besides like let me spend $25 million to go to an island that has people I can have sex with at the tip of my finger. That sounds pretty cool to a lot of rappers. You know what I mean? So if you have
yeah.
someone like Jeffrey Epstein who offers that up to you, that wouldn't you want to do it? Like even though because you think about the action of it, you're not thinking about the long term circumstances of what it actually is.
Yeah. No, I get what you're.
You still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I lost you for a second.
Did you I know I sent it to you, but did you like watch any of my interview with Billy Steinberg?
A little bit of it. I watched through to the through to about like halfway, and then I got busy throughout the day. But I want to go back and watch the entire thing.
Yeah, because that was like my first real interview. Because I interviewed the other actor I'm friends with, and it's like, holy shit, I'm interviewing like the most one of the most famous songwriters in music industry, and like this is my first real interview, and it's like it was so
Oh,
great. It went great. It was crazy.
that's
What did you
awesome.
say?
I said I could extremely. I could only imagine how nerve wracking that would be.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It's just I've kind of pretty much. I've always wanted to do something like this. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
even though I'm not like a big time actor or anything like that, not yet at least. Um, I still think of it as like I still want to get all this stuff off my chest. You know what I mean? Because it's like nobody's ever listened to the full story of how I became an actor, and it's just
right,
it's good to like explain it all. It's like whenever I started off, I had nobody. I had nothing besides my mom, who took me to my auditions, and I, you know, I got discouraged when I was out in LA, and I learned a lot through past grievances that happened in my life that I didn't ask for. I learned a lot from lessons that I learned that I didn't even know were lessons at the time. They were just my life.
right,
Learned from, getting bullied from the age of, you know, as long as I could remember, kids were making fun of me until now when I can, reflect it. But for the longest time, it was just this insecure moment where like I was like a little leaflet, and I was just fluttering in the wind, and I was just, I didn't know where I was gonna be, what I was gonna do, and then I finally, landed, and then the leaf kind of crumbled up and became soil for an even bigger tree to grow. So in order for that to happen, I had to break off from another tree to come to another one just to break down so I could help another one grow. So
hmm
it was kind of
yeah,
like, but at the same time, like all of that has kind of prepared me for, I just need one, one big movie, dude. I'm telling you, one. And I promise you one. I get on one big movie and you will nonstop see my face. Every billboard, every ad on your phone, I'll be all over the place. I and then the second I'm done with that like 2 year 15 second I call it 2 year 15 second of fame, but like the little glimpse of stardom for like the little bit that you have like as a young kid, I'm not gonna waste that away doing stupid stuff like a lot of people that I could call out right now, but I'll probably meet when I get older, so I'm not gonna do it. Uh,
yeah,
uh, but think about it. Think about it like just Justin Bieber, man. Like the kid genuinely had some pretty good talent. He knew how to play guitar and he had a pretty good voice. If he would have stuck with that, just that,
yeah,
and been a could have been more of a public icon. Like could have been more of an inspiration beacon. Because a lot of people right now they aren't even aware of themselves. They're basically just kids. They're all just the same kids who have found ways to cope with what they're dwelling on. But I've managed to figured out somehow sort of kind of figure out how to just not always think about dwelling on something, and
yeah,
instead of finding something to cope with what I'm dwelling with, I've been able to find out something that I can use as a beneficial rebound. It's like, I feel like shit today. I don't want to get on my video games. I want to play this and I want to do that. So I'll be honest with you. I know how to play GTA and Modern Warfare, and that's pretty much it. Maybe I played some Call of Duty when I was a little bit younger with one of my friends, but it's just like like I'm not a big video game person. Like I don't.
yeah. I'm not either.
Yeah, it's this to me, this is endless. This is lifeless. Music is lifeless. I can listen to that to the day I
True.
die,
Yeah.
but I can't listen to the background of a video game till the day I die because I feel my body like literally decaying in the seat underneath me.
Yeah.
What the am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, it's I've never done the same things that my friends have done. And it's like the more I've been around them, the more that they kind of influence me to do it. So the more I
Hmm.
just stay to myself. So I really don't like. I'll hang out with a couple of kids and I'll hang out with my really close friends. But I get to a point where I need to get distance. I need to keep my space because if I don't,
Yeah.
then I'll overload. I can't genuinely be myself. So it's like I want to be able to be in a position where I could like have somebody listen to me, even though it's not like a friend or something like that. Like I want to basically say all the shit that's happened in my life on a microphone and have that lead to somebody putting me on a podium in front of 5,000 people, and
Hmm.
that's broadcasted to over 1 million people.
Yeah.
I want to talk for hours about all the emotions and feelings I've felt, and just to know that we craft ourselves. If you want to be something, you can. I've shared all these same emotions with you. We've all have, all as humans. But we choose the road we go down. We choose what we decide to do. We choose what we decide to let get to us.
Hmm.
If you don't do that, like, you're just gonna go on a constant cycle until you die.
Yeah.
And every now and then, I feel like this is what's wrong with society. Every now and then, there are people like Elon Musk who come out and they're like a brain that never stops functioning, a brain that never stops instead of dwelling, doesn't even think about and a past thought, only thinks about something that can benefit his future. So he doesn't even think about other things that are gonna, you know, be detrimental to his character because he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So like when he smoked weed on Joe Rogan's podcast, his stocks went down for a day and came right back up the next day because he just he has that demeanor of business. He's like business is business, and he goes, I'm going to be the best at my business, so nobody can say anything to me when I do personal. So I'll wear Yeezys and stand next to Kanye West, but I'll still be a multi-billionaire making the first real self driving car with an lithium battery. Like that shit's just that's crazy. Like, and then there's people like that just kept pushing, and there are people like I've used this analogy 30 times, but Michael Jordan. There's people like I could go on for days if I genuinely wanted to.
I guess the last thing I can ask you, I don't. It's kind of the opposite of what like a final question to an actor would be in an interview because normally it would be like, what do you looking to do role wise? But I'll turn it around on you because I'm sure you'd have a good answer. Is like, what do you think? Let's see. What do you think is holding you back in terms of if there was like a role that you would do, or if you have like limits to a
So
role that
limits,
you would do?
limits like personal limits, or if I have limits that are actually like real world limits that are like what's preventing.
No, yeah, I guess it's more like what you wouldn't do. If you can think of anything like a role that you wouldn't do, or something that you would have to do that you like wouldn't be comfortable doing, or
I don't want to do a movie that is corny.
oh,
Before I Wake was a pretty good movie, all in all. Like if you watched it and you didn't even know that I was in it, you'd go, "Oh, that was pretty good." And I told you I was in it, and you're like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty cool." I give it like an 8, 7.5 out of 10.
Hmm.
I mean, like it's not horrible, but like that's not something you'd expect out of somebody's first movie. But I don't want to do anything like if I'm gonna go and do a big movie, I want it to be something like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off
Yeah.
because I'm capable of doing a Ferris Bueller's Day Off movie, which a lot of kids, and I know that sounds like horrible, but a lot of kids are like, if you think about the Finn Wolfhard kid, like even in his character, there's still like a, but I don't know, no, like it's like
Hmm.
get into it, you know what I mean? Like, come on. Like
Right.
I know that sounds a little crazy, but it's just like, can you actually actually be that person? Can you actually like imagine yourself being that person? And if you can't, like if you genuinely can't, don't force yourself. Because if you force yourself, you're not going to give a good performance. So I don't like when I've done that to myself. I've like I don't like this audition. I've not been like I don't like this. Ew, like heck no, bro. Like what I've done is I've always gone like okay, how can I approach this in a way that I can make this more how I like it? And it's helped me a lot, an awful lot. But at the same time, I see some of these kids who go directly by the book about what they do, and they're booking them left and right, mainly because of a look. So it's like you'll have on the page any ethnicity. So right then and there, you're limited to 8 billion people, um, and then it comes to a factor of you have 100 actors that get called back, right? And it's red hair, blue eyes, you know, and I don't have actual red hair, so they'd have to dye my hair. So just like thinking about that, they'll more than likely just be like, here, let's take what's easy.
Yeah.
Let's take a LA local kid and take him to this LA local movie, and let's do this, because it'll add him to have more credits. And you think about it, these kids are all in this union. They're all in this like, I'm in the union too, but once you've done 3 or 4 actual like TV show movies type things, they
Yeah.
they make you join SAG-AFTRA. So
Yeah, I knew that.
yeah, so once you do that, you've kind of become you are now basically if you wanna think about it like that, like you're now their bitch.
Yeah.
So they negotiate how much you get paid. They negotiate almost how much they get paid as well. Um, But it's a really good union that helps a lot of people out. So I can't talk shit about it at all. I just wish I could do it without it, because a lot of it's to save kids. It's save kids on set. It's like on set mistreating or on set basically like they're not treating the actor properly. I don't
Yeah.
I couldn't give two shits if you have me sitting down on a cot sitting there and I have to hold my breath. Like that's what I live for, dude. Like that's what I feel like I was. I know that sounds horrible, but that sounds weird. But I feel like I was created to do this. And it's like I'm not good at basketball. I like basketball a lot. I really, really, really love engines, and I'm barely good at that. I've had to read millions of books just to figure out how to turn a because I never had somebody to teach me how to do it.
Hmm.
So I've kind of gone the dummy way through everything. Like I've had to like dummy proof myself.
Yeah.
But the one and only thing that I am killer at, the one thing that I could put anybody under the water with my persona. Just with my confidence and my level of like I almost feel like Mike Tyson. Like because he said in one of his post fight interviews, he said when I get closer to the ring, he goes the farther I am away from the ring, the scarier I am, more terrified. He said, but the closer I get, my eyes close off, and he goes, I keep reminding myself nobody can beat me, and I'm undefeated.
Yeah.
And as he says that, I feel like just by me being truthfully confident in myself, I scare people because people aren't really like because confidence is all about overcoming what you can't do and figuring out what you can do until you figure out what you can't do and being aware of it. Because if you're not aware of what you can't do and you act like you can, you're a douchebag. You're not confident.
Mm-hmm.
But when you say, "Yeah, I really need to work on that," but you know what? I'm gonna wake up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna make sure that if I say I'm a guitar player, I'm gonna spend 2 hours before I even go on my morning run, just picking up my guitar to make sure I'm better than anybody else in this room. That's confidence. That may seem a little bit cocky, but at the same time, if you actually do that, that confidence people need to have. But at the same time, you like I've learned to myself like you can't say stuff like that. You can't say certain things to people. Certain people can't stand what you say to them. You know what I mean? Like everybody takes it as an attack. So
Yeah.
it's like in today's society, like I feel like I've just been fluttered to like figure out different aspects of the world so that I can apply them to like acting in today's modern society. Because today's modern society is, I'll just say this frank as I possibly can. I think what am I, Generation Z?
I think so. Yeah.
That's just like Z. Think about it. It's the alphabet. We've literally come to the end, but I don't know. I feel like we're gonna have a nuclear explosion and kill everybody, and just we're all just gonna die. Come back as fish people.
That's too out there.
I know there are a couple people who agree with me. There's bound to be. Um, but yeah, dude. I feel like I've kind of picked up and idolized things in my life that aren't young rappers and you know people with power who shouldn't be in positions of power.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it if you want. Think about it like a person person like Billie Eilish got hijacked. Like she's hijacked now. Like I love her to death, and she's an amazing singer. She got hijacked. She doesn't speak for herself anymore when she goes into interviews. When she goes into interviews, she talks mainly about what she needs to talk about. She ignores what she's trying to talk about. So it's just selling your soul. It's like just not being truthfully authentic at all times. But some people like when you go out there, you don't succeed immediately, which like when you succeed immediately, you feel like, oh, okay, that's it. But
Mm-hmm.
and then you have people take you under your wing. But
Yeah.
I want to like avoid that at all costs. Like I want to book my first movie with the same agent, same producer, same agent manager I have now, and then I get offered new managers and new agents. Yeah, they might offer me new jobs, but I think I'm gonna stick with my same agency that's got me where I've gotten now, and I'm gonna
Right.
stay complacent with how I do the work I do, and I'm not gonna show up to talk to you if you know. It's the only reason I wanted to do this interview with you is because like you're one of my friends, so
Yeah.
I think just this talking like you actually probably got more out of me than an actual interview probably could.
Well, of course. Yeah.
That's not the same, you know. Well, saying that, making it makes it seem like if I were to do a normal, let's say, podcast with like the Breakfast Club, um, I feel like I'd now know how to like act about it, like and work it because it's when you really think about it, man, like kids my age don't know how to do shit for themselves. And it sounds like green. Like, in Florida we say this thing. A new adjective we use for oh that's green, bro. You know, it's like that's fucked up. But you can say I don't know. Whenever I would I would just be around kids my age, they pull out mommy and daddy's red credit card, debit card that's connected to, or their credit card that's connected to their parents, and they swipe it, and they get all their food, and they're just talking, and they're just like, they just grab their drink, and they're, like thanks, and they just go and grab their food, and they leave, or like they won't even say thanks, they'll just leave. And I'm thinking of like, I'm the one friend who will sit in a friend group, and I'll like look at the guy and like be like,
Mhm.
I'm the one who's like, I'm in tune. If some lady's like bringing out my shit and she doesn't look like she having a good day or something like that, I'll pinpoint something simple. Your nose piercing really brings out the color of your eyes. Sounds like some fucking bullshit. It's so dumb. But if you say it to somebody genuinely, like they go, oh, thank you, and I said, you're very welcome. And I just, something that can just bring somebody's day up so much quicker. Being in tune. This is one thing I learned from. This is really cool. We're almost about at 2 hours, but I'll let you go in like 8 minutes. Whenever I was talking to whenever I was in LA about 6 7 months ago, for the long period of time I met this guy named Jupiter. All right, I had just started boxing. I was in the line of a this like juice bar kind of thing that sells like croissants and stuff like that. While I was like boxing in the line, and I was like just kind of shadow boxing, and he
Yeah.
sees me behind me, and he goes, throw a normal punch like that, and he does it, and then he comes up and he does this, and he steps on my foot, and he grabs it and brings it around. He brings my neck right here, and he grabs his finger, and he goes, if that was a knife, you'd be dead. And I was like, whoa, this guy is cool. Like, he had those old shoot, what are those glasses called? Hold on, I was looking them up on Amazon the other day, so I know what they're called. 1 second, let me see if I can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can figure this out real quick, because I'm gonna try and it's well anyway. He had these big kind of like pilot glasses on with like the dust rim around the back of them, that like wrapped around his ears, and whenever he would talk to me, he sounds like he'd smoked like a bunch of cigarettes in his whole. But when you look at him, he had not an ounce of fat on his body. He was one of those dudes who was like extrememely lean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when he talked to me, he talked to me in like like he was very like trainer kind of teaching me something. So I get talking to this guy, and I like immediately just you know I felt like I was comfortable with him. He goes and he comes home and he meets my mom. Guys, you know, coolest dude that you could see, you could think of. He's like, but he has like four silver chains, big pendants, but not like a rapper, but like more like um, an old Chinese man, like a Chinese man with a big pendant right here, a long, tall, skinny Chinese man. But he was white and Irish, and
Yeah.
he taught me Wing Chun Kung Fu. Not taught me all the way, but bits and pieces of Wing Chun and bits and pieces of Shaolin, like actual fighting style, like from the Kung Fu Temple,
Yeah.
in China. So he went to prison for I'm pretty sure it was intent to traffic drugs. So he went in, and he's exactly double my age. Exactly. We have the same birthday. So when I met this guy, I was like, "You're weird," and he's like, "You're weird," and I was like, why did I meet you?" And he was like, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
So he basically was somebody who was my age, like older than me, like twice my age, who got me. Like he figured out my sense of humor. He figured out everything that was going on with me, but he had also lived in LA, so he figured out the struggle. So he was like, "Look, dude, I'll take you to some places that you need to go to like cool your head when you come down here." And he goes, "Cause it's crazy hectic out here." He took me to this one place, and he took me to a like he's this hippie guy. Took me to a hookah bar, and there's a hookah bar, and right next to it there's this like Jamaican restaurant. So I got this big thing of like a jerk chicken patty,
Yeah.
ginger and pineapple tea. Dude,
Hmm.
just best thing you'd never want to try.
It sounds good to me.
Oh, some people would never like that, but it's like a tea, a cold tea with and it felt so vibrant and so like lifting and like euphoric. It almost made you feel like it would. It felt more like it almost felt like you were drinking a soda because of the ginger, but you weren't
Yeah.
because it had barely any sugar in it. And so whenever I like actually trained with this guy, he taught me a lot of things on how to just be calmer as a person. He goes, look, man. He goes, being in jail is like it's something you really don't want to do in life. He goes, so I'll really suggest you do one thing. He had this crazy laugh, like a crazy guy laugh. You go like laugh in your face a little bit. And he,
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, when I because I think he was trafficking like cocaine, and then he's been um, clean record. He owns his own like dispensary. If not, if it was a dispensary, it was some kind of business, and he kind of just did his own thing. He's like, I had to separate from all my friends. He said because I listened to my friends instead of trying to figure out my trade, which my trade was you know mathematics. And I was really good at math, and I was really good at you know I was just different than the rest of the kids, but I got really pulled back with them. So I used those skills that I still had. And I also said, okay, I need to get away from society. So I went and I learned, how to properly fight.
Hmm.
So, and that's what he said. He said, when you take that out, and instead of like, being some crazy guy who's been out of jail, he decided that he was going to be some crazy, uh, fighter. So he walks around with these, those baggy, like, kung fu pants.
Yeah. Yeah.
He walks around backwards and he has these big glasses on and he has his all of his chains and he walks backwards. It's like a hip swaying motion. So he walks backwards everywhere he goes, and he'll stop by people and he'll recognize them behind him. So he'll move out of the way really quickly, and it's
Yeah.
just you see it, and you think, oh, it's bullshit. He's got like some kind of like camera,
Yeah.
or something. But no, he's just so in tune. He's so in tune with himself. He just figures out everything, and he's just a little magician. And he would talk to a girl, and some girl was on her phone, and he goes, we were walking in right as soon as he saw her. He grabbed her hand, got that on one knee, and kissed her and said, "You have the most beautiful red hair I've ever seen in my life." And I'm just sitting there, and he goes, "Aww." And he sits there and talks to her for a minute, and just like stands there, and he comes back inside, and he looks at his watch, and he has a Gucci watch, and a Gucci bracelet, and it's all silver. And he goes, "Gold makes me crazy. That's why I've never wore gold in my life because of that man. I only wear silver." But he goes, "Gold makes me crazy." And I was like, "Okay, that's weird, but okay, I'm gonna listen." But he looked at his watch. And he goes, "I give it about 5 minutes before she texts me." So he goes, I said, "You gave her your number?" And I was like, "Yes, I did." I was like, "I give it about 5-10 minutes." And he goes, "In about 5-10 minutes, we'll still be sitting here waiting for our food, and she'll still be outside, but she will still have the audacity to text me while we're sitting right here." I said,
Hmm.
"Why?" And I said, "Because I said something very intriguing to her." And I said, "What?" And I said, and he was like, "Well, that will be determined for the text back." And the text back was something along the lines of like, uh, you know, "You're a really sweet guy, blah blah blah. We should get together and like, go grab a drink or something like that. And he was like, see, I told you. And I was like, what are you like, Mister? He was my Mr. Miyagi, basically.
Yeah.
So
That's cool.
this one guy I never expect to like. You would see him on the road, like walking behind, like walking backwards, and you'd go, that dude's fucking cracked out on something. But it's like
Yeah.
there's always those people, bro. Those people who have actually been in like the shitty situations of life, who he actually prevailed and made something out of himself, and literally lives entirely by himself, and just kind of trains like a ninja, goes to stores, and like literally he has these little platform ninja shoes that are made out of entirely like cotton, and he bought me a pair, and I wear them. Okay, so I live on the beach, so I don't have to worry about them like wearing out on the sand. But dude,
Yeah.
you walk backwards, it realigns your spine and loosens your hips
Mm-hmm.
because when you're walking normal, you're forcing your body to propel forward, but when you propel yourself backwards, it's realigning your hip structure and making your spine go a different way that it physically can, but it's not used to.
Yeah.
So it's just like he made me. He's like, look, every little thing has a detail for a reason. And he goes, if we pay attention to all of them, then you'll never fail. He goes, if you slip up and you start to let your ego slide in front of you and carry your thoughts, your ego will soon become the passenger,
Yeah.
no longer be the leader. And
That's a good.
once it becomes the passenger, there's no driver and the car will crash.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
You can't let yourself fall victim to like just stop doing you because you're a human, man. Like if you like doing something, stay doing it for the rest of your life. Because if you're born in the first like vague 15, 20 years to your life, those are like the easy years, to be honest. Because then you got to live. Like you and I have still never really like you probably have way more than I have, but like lived a normal life. Like just what do we do today? Like when there's nothing to do in a day,
Yeah.
like we're just like, what? I don't want to be like that ever, ever. I want to be like, what is there to do today? I'll never have that moment. I have a 2 hour time frame for me to like play guitar and for me to like listen to my music and for me to get some inspiration from this. And then I got 2 hours to go to the gym, and then I got a couple more hours to go swimming, and then I got a couple more hours I got to have a meeting with somebody, and I got this to do and this to do and this to do. And but see, that would be so much more appealing because it's doing something I want to do. As
Yeah.
opposed, and that's what people don't do anymore. People
Mm,
don't live for themselves. They have to look on a social media to get inspiration to do something that they want to do. You want to go work out, you got to look up workouts to do instead of literally like asking another human being like at the gym. Like, you see somebody with a
mm,
bigger chest than you, I never look up chest workouts. I ask somebody with a bigger chest than me. I say, "What workouts do you do?" They're completely different than the one that the books will give me. And it's just like just working out like that and thinking like that and functioning like that is what humans forgot how to do because we don't have to.
yeah.
We've been
Yeah.
done.
Mm,
So we're literally given and handed everything, including, you know, demographics. We're given, labels. We're given names. We're given everything. You know, if none of that existed and we were just all humans, nobody would know how to act. If we took away, government, if we took away all this other stuff, we took away all this, laws, if we took away freedom, if we took all those things, nobody would know how to act. But think about it. We're all humans. Like we've all lost our way to be able to be like kind to one another. Like we're not kind. Like I don't understand why you can't just say something to someone like I see all these like you ever seen these Karens versus like skaters? Have you ever seen that like compilation on
yeah.
YouTube?
Yeah.
Like they literally step on their skateboards and like have these kids pommel in front of them, and then like freaking throw these kids skateboards. It's like, did you never have fun as a kid? Like you're just trying
Right.
to ruin someone else's. Like you could have easily just said like stopped them and be like, hey boys, let's check me out. If you all want to do this, do it when I'm not looking, and boss man ain't either. But for right now, I don't want him to call the cops on you. And if y'all keep coming around, I'm gonna have to call the cops on you. So for right now, let's just separate this. I guarantee you, as a kid, that's what you would have wanted to hear. But
Mm,
that's what a kid wants to hear too. But it's like if we had more of like, yeah, 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 I got you, instead of more of like, fuck you, lady. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If we had more of that, there would be less of burning down buildings for a protest. Like, I don't, I don't condone with any of the things that's being thrown around in politics. I think politics are a huge waste of time. I think politics are like discussing politics on the news constantly is a waste of our time. Like Americans really need to have Fox News, CNN. That shit needs to be taken away. Like
Yeah.
unless there's like genuine crises, like a genuine crisis was 9/11, but that really only needs to be stated to New York and maybe put into a book. Like that's how I perceive it. Like that's how I think it should have been dealt with. Like, but if you think about it, you don't have that control. Like you don't have that control at all. You'll never have that kind of control. So, regardless of whoever you're trying to work with, you know, nobody's ever gonna like understand what you're trying to do. So you just got to do it to the best of your abilities. So it's like
Mm,
I want to be the best actor I possibly can, and nobody's gonna be like, yeah, Hunter, I can help you with that. Besides me, so I'm gonna have to work my ass off, get myself in a room to where I'm like, yeah, that person's the person who's gonna help me. But all that's because of what I've done. It's not because of what I've, you know, thought was gonna happen. Like today, I feel like we're all waiting on a prayer. Like, you know,
mm,
we're all just like we're so vague and mindless that will believe in a God who we can't see, hear, nor smell, touch, reach, anything, and we'll sit on our knees and pray that He'll bring us a life, or that He'll bring us a life that we actually want. And once that that life doesn't come around, it's God's will. But if you boom the next day you hit the lottery, oh, that's God's blessing. It's just like how can we live so robotically? Like we're literally just right now. I feel like the world is so societalized. I had fucking like I lisp when I don't have my retainer. Societalized, but I feel like we're all just so caught up in being what's hot, like what's hip. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like we're all just like, dude, we need the newest car. We need the newest. We need the bro. Oh my god, the newest phone's about to come out in September, bro. That's just gonna be badass. Oh my god, did you hear the baby's new album, bro? Lil Baby's fucking fire, bro. Bro, did you hear Polo G's dropping a new EP? No way. Wait, bro, they're gonna release XXX Tentacion death video. No way. Like just think about what you're doing, bro.
Mm,
Like those are memories for maybe later in the upcoming years, but like in 20 years, let's see if I'll actually, you know, sit down and like, cause I liked a couple of XXX's songs, like a lot. I cried when that man died, but it's like I can't see myself, cause he had a similar mindset I did, and that was taken away. He wanted to like recreate himself, like, but he was murdered because of his old life. So it's just a matter of like you have some people who actually get it, and then you have some people who are just think about this. And that sounds kind of. This will also sound a little bit fucked, but so you have somebody in higher power, right? Who, let's say, they are a we're a chain basically. So think about this. think about you have a barista, right? The barista makes your coffee.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
person who goes in there to buy the coffee is a school teacher. School teacher's tired and groggy from grading papers all night long. She gets her coffee, wakes up. She goes to school. When she goes to school, she's teaching a young kid who is now going to take that knowledge and become a construction worker. And so you need a construction worker to build your house. Oh, and you need a wood maker or a wood carver, wood cutter, whatever, to make all the beams for your support. You need a concrete layer, so you need people in who can lay concrete. So we're all just like a cycle. You know what I mean? Like you need somebody to give you the coffee, so you need somebody to work at the place where they sell coffee. You need somebody to drink the coffee, and that person to drink the coffee needs the fuel to go teach somebody or do their job, which their job, you know what I mean? It's like all of a. But then we lose sight of. I'm going on a ramble here, but I'm loving it. But whenever you get to a point of losing track of you, like you just gotta like every now and then I feel like what people need to do with their lives is they need to do these couple of things. They need to sit there and go, why am I doing what I'm doing? Is what I'm doing gonna benefit me in the long run to get me to where I want to go? And what can I do to get me to where I want to go faster?
Mm-hmm.
So you really sit back and think about it. It's like, oh well, I hang out with you know Jim and Billy for 4 days out of the week, when during those 4 days out of the week I should be focusing on my trumpet skills so I can win trumpet skill nationals of the year. You know what I mean? Like people get so influenced by other people around them, and they just kind of like, okay, well, I'll just fall in this loop, I'll just do what everybody else does to kind of like fit in. And then, you see all these people who are like so happy and they're taking all these videos and their Snapchat stories and they look like less depressed than you are. But in reality, they're so insecure and they're so unaware of themselves that they've put things in their systems like copious amounts of alcohol, which
Yeah.
is a depressant. And that's sometimes it makes you loose, like a glass of wine or two glasses of wine, like you had. But when you drink copious amounts of liquor, like I've literally gone to parties, bro, where these kids, they're tanks, they're literal just dead brain cells and big bodies, and oh, we deadlift like 500 pounds, and like they drink all this beer, and it's just like, okay, buddy, I'm gonna go home now. I'm
Yeah.
petrified. Like I'm what? Like these kids can pound 30 beers, like 30. Like that's just
Mhm.
like that seems like, what are you doing with your life? Like where do you actually see yourself? Like where do you see yourself going? Where do you see what you want to do in your life? What do you If that's what you think is cool, then you really need to reassess yourself. And it's like people get so caught up in that, you know what I mean, that they never lose that they never leave that street.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I guess you made a lot of good points, and based off the last thing I asked you. But uh, yeah, I'll try to. I don't know if I'll upload it tonight, but because it's longer than we thought it would go on, but
Yeah.
uh, it's fine because usually all the other ones are like an hour and a half, so it's not that much farther on. But I'm sure you'll like want to share it around once I have it uploaded, so I'll get it posted.
Heck yeah. See, it's gonna be there's some things that I wanted to talk to you about that you should probably call me and us like discuss it whenever I turn about like 18, because there's gonna be because I'll when I'm 18 I'll be in LA, and I won't, you know
Yeah.
I will no longer be in Pensacola and in Florida. So the
Right.
things I say can't be used against me in the court of law. So there will be a
Yeah,
lot more content next time for part two.
I'm sure.
But yeah, dude, we need to talk more about we barely talked about music. We definitely need to talk more about music next time because I barely, you know, I didn't talk to you about Tom Seeger, or I didn't talk to you about like my pure obsession with hold on. I have an obsession with Led Zeppelin, like a ridiculous obsession with Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, we can just like it wouldn't have to be that stuff
yeah,
wouldn't have to be.
we can actually like we can actually talk about that. But what I want to do is I want to actually set up an interview, um maybe like a year from today or something like that, just to see like the progression.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be a good idea.
yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I know that's like what Vogue does with.
Yeah, that's what Vogue did with Billie Eilish, but you know, I'm not at that level yet.
Yeah.
But it's like you know, I don't think poorly about anybody else. Like I gotta say this before we end, but I don't think poorly about anybody else who's done something better than I have or more successful than me, because I've never been in that position before.
Well, yeah, yeah,
So I can't diss what I've never had. You know what I mean?
right.
But at the same time, I kind of understand, and I think a lot of people in positions like that would agree with a lot of the things I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I physically know and mentally know that I'm capable of doing these things, and it's just a matter of like my turn, because it's like I want to be as big or bigger than Will Smith,
Yeah,
as smarter as and more cunning than Robin Williams, and more profound as an actor than Tom Cruise, and more versatile than Christian Bale. Like that sounds like I'm taking a bigger bite than I can chew, but I feel like I'm more than capable of taking on that.
well, I think it's just the same kind of passion a lot of people your age would have, and I think it'll be easy
It's like
for you once you get going.
it's like music. It's like probably exactly how she says. She goes, "Look, man, I just wanted to be a really good musician, so I just kept focusing on my music and my voice, and I got pretty good. And then I was able to have people look at me and tell me that they want to see me. They want to see more of it. So it's like
Yeah,
she just worked her ass off and got what she wanted to get, got where she wanted to get, and just kept going because she had people
right.
underneath her helping her. And that's where I want to get to the point where people feel comfortable enough putting their faith in me and like trusting me that I'll succeed, because it's just a matter of time. I've got some people under me, but it's just I need to book that one big movie. That one big
Hmm.
movie. One big movie or TV show or anything, honestly.
Yeah, I'll get this. Yeah,
Next, before you say, next pilot season, I'm going back out there. So pilot season starts from January all the way to March.
yep,
So I have a couple meetings, and I think I have a few meetings with some of the people I was working with previously for Warner Brothers. So we'll fingers crossed about what happens with that. So
yeah. I know I'll be talking to you about it. I'm sure when that happens, like I always am. So yeah, I'll get this. I'll probably get this up tonight, unless it takes like a fucking million years to download.
well, just let me know and shoot me a link of it, man.
Yeah, thanks. It was fun.
Of course, man. I had a blast.